Hello, everybody. I want to start off by thanking you guys for all the comments on the Chloe Dykstra, Chris Hardwick update that I did yesterday. A lot of good feedback. I don't mind any of it. The only thing is, when it comes to dealing with me online, there was a point where I was really, I guess you could say, well known on Facebook, where I was involved in a lot of threads and a lot of conversations, and I really exhausted the disrespect back and forth type of situation. Like, if you feel passionate about something, I definitely get that and I appreciate that. If you want to disagree with me even passionately, I'm fine with that. But as far as you disrespecting me or talking to me in a way that I don't want to be talked to, that's not going to happen. I'm not Chloe Dykstra. I will block you. I will let you know right away that that's not happening, and then I will block you, because I know that a lot of people think that that goes with being online, and it doesn't have to go with being online. Actually, we can agree, we can disagree, but we don't have to disrespect each other. So keep that in mind when you're leaving your comments to me. And watch the clip before you say anything, because I sense a few of you will read the headline and respond to that. And it's like, well, if you haven't watched the clip, then you're really not a part of the conversation. And I'm not going to debate my title with you. So watch the clip at least, which I don't know why I'm even saying that part, because if you don't watch the clip, you're not watching this part of the clip anyway. I do appreciate the conversation, though. I know some people don't agree with me, and I expected that. The other thing I will tell you is a lot of you are hitting me with a lot of blog talk and a lot of shit you read on BuzzFeed after I gave you a personal history from me. I told you about my history with abuse, and I was very honest and open. So when you come at me with what you've read about abuse, that's not going to work. You got to come to me with something personal. You got to come to me with your actual experience. And I will respect your experience. I won't discount your experience, but at the same time, I'm not going to act like we're having the same conversation when you're talking to me about shit you read and I'm talking to you about shit I lived. I'm a little bit later today doing this than I wanted to be. I was recording my podcast. It's called Unbothered by Rivera. If you guys ever want to check it out, SoundCloud and iTunes, I'll include the link down in the description so that you guys can find the links if you want to. I talk about stuff a little more in depth there, and I also talk more about my personal life. Today, though, I want to switch gears as far as what I'm talking about. I know I've talked about Chloe Dykstra twice. That's just because I felt like once I did the story, I owed you guys an update, so I gave the update. And today, I actually want to talk a bit about being LGBTQ. I know I refer to myself as the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world, which I don't really know that anybody would be able to dispute that, because I am very good at what I do. Some of you might be like, well, you're not funny on the videos. Well, that's because I'm not writing for the videos. I just talk and give my opinion on certain things, and that's what it is. But as far as me being an actual LGBTQ comedian, and as far as me being really good at it, that's not something anybody that actually has seen me do what I do would deny. Some people might say that they don't agree with certain things I say on stage, but that's a part of life. Some people would maybe say that I don't always come at it from the most LGBTQ agenda-based perspective, but that's not what I'm here for. And I don't mean just on my blogs. I mean in actual life, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to just do whatever the LGBTQ agenda is or whatever. Like, a lot of times, if you know the LGBTQ agenda or the community that speaks for us, a lot of LGBTQ people are like, I'm not involved with that. I'm not in line with that. That's not what I'm trying to do with my time. Like, when it comes to me, a lot of times GLAD will complain about things that I'm like, yeah, I don't care about that. I've got bigger concerns in my life than some of the stuff you're complaining about. And sometimes I feel like along the way, some of the stuff the LGBTQ people have complained about has been petty, and I don't care, and I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not looking for ways to just fill up my day with being gay. But what I will tell you guys is I do feel a certain responsibility, not necessarily to the community, but to LGBTQ people, because I've seen a lot, and I know the way certain things work as far as LGBTQ goes, and helping like your LGBT children figure out their way and maybe live happier lives. Because for a while there, gay teen suicide was like a hot topic and everybody was talking about it. And since then, people have kind of moved away from that, and it's become less of a topic, which I'm glad it's become less of a topic because that probably means the numbers have gone down. Now, do I keep my eye on LGBTQ youth suicide? No, that's not what I'm doing with my days. That's not how I'm occupying my time. But do I know that it's still an issue that we need to deal with? Of course. Of course I know that. Because I know that there's a lot of parents that still don't get it. And I think we as LGBT aren't always being the most helpful when it comes to the way we handle ourselves online. Like, I've talked about it in regards to trans people a few times. Because I work in a lot of cases the parts of the country that nobody wants to be in. So I can tell you firsthand that a lot of these people, and when I mean these people, I'm talking about middle America, I'm talking about in a lot of cases what you would call rednecks. A lot of these people have questions. That's all it is. Like, they're not being hateful, they're not homophobic, they just have questions because it's something that's foreign to them. So then they ask a question and they get called a name, like be it homophobic, transphobic, hateful, closed-minded, any one of them you pick, you've seen it online the same way I have. But to me, it's not fair because in a lot of cases, like I was saying, these people just have questions. Like, they just want to get a better understanding. And when you have an LGBT kid, I know that that can be really hard for people too, because people are trying to accept their kid and be understanding with their kid, but at the same time, they just don't get it. Like, it's something that's just foreign to them. And then when they've got like an angry kid that's like, you don't get it, you're not trying to understand me, and the parent is like, I am trying to understand you, it's just you keep getting mad at me when I don't understand something, or if I call you by the wrong pronoun. And that's something I've seen happen with a lot of LGBT, or a lot of trans people, I should say, specifically trans people. And I've always had trans friends. My entire adult life, I've had trans friends. So for me, it's not an issue with having to respect them or accept them. It's something I'm very used to. I'm very used to treating anybody with respect. I don't care how different you are from me. And that's one of the reasons I don't let people disrespect me. Because it's like, if I come at you in a respectful way, you're going to come at me in a respectful way back, or else I'll just cut you off. I won't talk to you any further in regular life. I'll cut you off online and, block you. It's just, I don't have time for it anymore. I came out when I was 17 years old, and being gay was not what it is now. Being gay was not the party that it is right now as far as the way that the general public treated us. Even gay people were atrocious to each other when I was younger. And that still hasn't changed the most. Like, you go to a lot of gay bars and you see a lot of attitude going on, and it's just kind of like, I thought we were supposed to be proud. I thought we were supposed to be happy. I thought we were supposed to be accepting. I thought we were supposed to be a rainbow. But instead, everybody's treating each other like shit because this one doesn't look like you think they should look, or this one doesn't dress the way you think they should look, or this one isn't masculine enough, or this one's too feminine, or then for me, it's just like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. Like, I don't have those problems as far as me thinking somebody's being too feminine or too masculine. As long as you're being you and the genuine you, we're going to be friends. We're going to be able to work out. But if you think you're going to get on a soapbox with me and tell me what I'm supposed to feel as another gay man, no, that's not going to happen. That's not what your job is. But when I ask you to be a little more patient with people, with straight people in straight America, I ask you because I think it would be better for the cause in general. Like, when I talk about trans people specifically, I talk about trans people because for some reason lately, a lot of adult trans kids have come out with their parents to see my shows. Now, I think that it's their straight parents that are arranging it because the parents are like, hey, maybe we can have some fun and I can kind of relate. And so it's turned into a really positive experience for me. For a minute there, a lot of trans people online were trying to boycott me because I'm not going to be particularly sensitive to your feelings, and that's just what it is. I'm going to do the jokes that I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the things I'm going to talk about, and as long as I'm not talking directly to you, we shouldn't have a problem. But some people were upset with that, so they decided to come after me, and I was just like, yeah, I still don't care. I don't care who you are or what you think you are. You're not going to come at me sideways about the fact that you're trans and I'm not being what you consider sensitive enough. If I'm not sensitive enough, then don't watch my shit. I'm not begging you to watch me. I'm not begging other LGBT people to pay attention to what it is I'm doing. That's not something I'm doing. So if you think you're going to regulate me, that's just not going to happen. And it's not because I'm trying to be particularly obstinate towards you. It's just because I think I can be more helpful with the general public if I'm a little bit more of an ambassador. You know, if I'm the person that answers questions, because what happens is I'll do off-color jokes about being LGBT, and then afterwards, a lot of people will meet me after the shows. A lot of straight people will meet me and they'll talk to me, and then in that conversation, they'll ask me certain questions because they want to be educated, because they want to know. And I will answer those questions as genuinely as I possibly can. I don't care how many times people ask them. I will act like it's the first time that I've been asked that question. I will answer you as thoroughly as I possibly can. Like, I've had people ask me what the difference is between a transvestite and a transsexual and a transgender. I've had that question come at me. I've had people ask me what the difference is between a drag queen and a transgender person. I've had people ask me what the difference is even between gay and bi, and am I accepting of bi? And the truth is, I'm accepting of everybody. However you choose to identify or however you choose to live your life is not my problem and not my concern, and it's not something I'm going to make my problem or my concern. I live my life, you live your life. Hopefully you're happy. But what I wanted to talk about, just so everybody knows, this is Pride Month, which I'm sure most of you know. And the thing with Pride Month is, I think it's a good opportunity for me to tell people a little bit about my story when I came out. When I came out, things were much different, and I'm Mexican American, so my dad is more on the traditional side. He's first generation, and he just wasn't ready to have a gay son. So originally what I did was I came out to my mom, I had her tell my dad, and then my dad took me to the drive-up liquor store where we got a beer for him and a Zima for me, which, really, Zima, he should have known I was gay. I'm also dating myself by mentioning that it was a Zima, but it was a Zima I asked for, and it was one of the big ones that he ended up buying me. So we go to the backyard and we have a chat. He says, so your mom says that you wanted to talk to him about something, which left it so I now had to come out to him and tell him that I was gay. I was hoping my mom would say that, which I know she had already told him, but he just wanted to hear me say it, which I think was part of the... I don't know if all dads do this, but I know Mexican dads definitely do this, where they try to make you feel dumb about the whole idea, and then hopefully you'll just get like, you're right, this was a dumb idea. But my dad, I don't think he realized that gay doesn't really work that way. Like, I wasn't just going to be shamed out of being gay, especially once I had built up the nerve to come out of the closet, because it took me forever in my mind to come out of the closet. Like, I was going crazy and paranoid in my head, and I didn't know if I was going to get kicked out, because that was very common at that time for people to get kicked out of their houses, and I didn't want to be disowned by my family, and my sisters had young kids, and I was hoping that they would still allow me to be around the kids, because I really love my nephews and nieces. But I also knew that at that time a lot of people did consider homosexuality to be like a deviant behavior, so some people didn't feel like they could trust you around kids if you were gay. And this is the way it was for me growing up in Arizona. You know, like, I knew that these were all ideas that people had about gay and things that my family might think about me. And I grew up in a close family, so it wasn't like I was disconnected from them, but at the same time, I didn't know how anybody was going to handle me being gay. So I told my dad, and then he asked me, so what, you think you're a girl? And I was like, no. And then he was like, so you look at other men as girls? And I was like, no. And then I started to try to explain to him what it was gay was, which had just been explained to me. Not what it was gay was, but like the positions in gay. So I was like, okay, so there's tops and there's bottoms. And then in my head, I was like, I don't really like where this is going. So I just shut my mouth right away. Like, I said that much, and then I just was like, no, it's not. I don't think I'm a woman, and I don't want to treat other men as women. Cut to now, I'm a full-on woman, girl. Just playing. But, you know, if you're gay, you understand what I'm saying. But, yeah. So I had to tell him, and then I had him kind of try to act silly with me and shame me about it. And then uh, he said that he didn't understand it and that he knew that gay men are, for the most part, very flamboyant and can be very generous. So he doesn't know if I thought that somebody was going to take care of me. And I was like, no, it's not about money. It's not like that kind of thing. I'm gay. I like men. That's what it is. And so we had to have a cooling off period. Like, I ended up getting a boyfriend, which is the abusive situation that I talked about yesterday's clip. But, I didn't know any different, and I just got in this relationship. And it did provide me with kind of a haven because I moved in with my boyfriend shortly after we got together. And that gave me a chance to get away from my parents and get out of their house and not have to deal with them not understanding it and not getting it. And it gave them a chance to adjust as well. And he was charming, so my parents got to meet him, and they just referred to him as my friend, but they liked him a lot. And over time, they got more and more used to it. And we went through like different phases of growing together, but at this point, I know that my mom still holds out hope that one day I'll find a nice girl and settle down or actually be straight. And I know some people look at that as like a negative thing, or as my mom not fully accepting me for who I am. But that's not really a fight I want to get into. That's not something I want to do with my mom. I feel like she's my mom, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to have her, and she's allowed to have whatever wish she wants in her heart. If she wants to wish for me to be straight, she's allowed to do that all she wants. I know who I am, and I know who I'm in love with. And she refers to my boyfriend now as my friend. And my boyfriend now, his family will refer to me as his friend. That's something that he said that his family does as well. And for me, I don't feel disrespected by that, and I don't feel like they're disrespecting our relationship. I just feel like different people are comfortable with different things, and I'm willing to accept that. I don't want to have unnecessary fights with people that I love. Like, if my mom is willing to fully accept that I have a boyfriend and fully respect our relationship as far as when she talks to me and the way she treats him and that kind of stuff, then I'm not going to push for a particular title or for her to say a particular word. That's not a huge concern for me. But I did end up getting disappointed not too long ago when my dad ended up letting me know in conversation that two of the people he worked with, two of his closest friends as far as working relationships went, when I was coming out to him, were gay men. So it did hurt me to know that he could have made that easier for me just by at least acknowledging that he knew what it was, even if he didn't understand it or didn't want it for his son. That could have taken a huge burden off of me and let me feel less alienated, less disconnected from him. Because growing up, I kind of always felt disconnected from him because he had to work so much. My mom was a housewife and my dad was the only breadwinner, and I really respect that for him even now. It's not something I hold against him, but I felt disconnected from him for a really long time. And once I started getting around the age that I had decided to come out, I really started feeling more and more like I was connecting with him, and I started looking at him more as a friend, which doesn't mean that I didn't see him as my father. I still see him as my father. He's my dad. But I had really started to feel like I was connecting with him at that point. So then when I came out to him and then he said he didn't understand what it was I was or what it was I was telling him, I did start to feel disconnected from him again. And I don't hold them responsible for any of the bad relationships I was in, or any of that stuff. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not holding grudges. I don't believe in holding grudges about that kind of stuff. It's kind of like I said about the Chloe Dykstra situation. Sometimes I feel like life is life, and you don't always have to be a victim. And I don't feel like I'm a victim because my parents didn't get me at first. I think my parents were doing the best to try to understand me, doing their best to try to understand me, because I know my parents love me. I know my parents love me a lot. They always told me they loved me a lot, and even after they told me they loved me a lot, but they just didn't know how to show it and didn't know how to express it, especially once I came out and I was doing something that technically they were raised to believe was wrong. And when you're raised for so many years to believe that something is wrong, like by the time I came out to my dad, I want to say he was already 50 or close to 50. And, you know, my mom's not far behind. And so my mom would kill me if I told you her age. But it was something that was foreign to them. So I feel like even though at the time there were moments where I wanted to rush them or force them to just accept me and understand what it was I was, or what it was I am, or what it is I am, I feel like in the end we all do our best to live life the way that we think we're supposed to be living it moment to moment. So my parents not understanding and trying to wrap their brains around it, and then me doing what I had to do in the meantime to give us both the separation that we needed, and kind of living away from them for a while. And I would see them sometimes, but not all the time. But to me, I don't look at that as like a bad thing. But if I could give any advice to the parents of LGBTQ kids, even if you don't get it, even if it really is foreign to you and you're not like my dad and just lying to me, still love you, Dad. But even if it is completely foreign to you, just do your best to try to understand them. Do your best to let them know, even if you don't understand them, you're still here for them. And if you want to be like my mom and hold out hope that maybe one day your kid will come around and live out your dream, then hold that hope for yourself. And if you're the kid, the LGBT kid, trying to understand or trying to figure yourself out at the same time as your parents try to figure you out, be patient with your parents. Understand that they are going to do things wrong every once in a while. They are going to say the wrong things once in a while. But over time, things will get better, and you'll all get a better understanding of each other. Like, even though my mom sometimes wishes that I would just be straight or find a girl or whatever, she shows up to the gay pride parades and she lets me know in her best way that she fully does accept me for who I am right now, even if she hopes that that one part will change. And we're real friends and we have a good time, me and my mom and dad. They're my two, I would say honestly, they're my two best friends in the world, because they're the people that have been with me from the beginning, and I'll be there for them in the end. So yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say on this one. I really I wish you all luck with figuring it out, because it's not always easy, you know? But I'm not unhappy now. I just get a little bit, gay and emotional, I guess you could say, when sometimes I think about, like, a little bit of the road that it took for us to get here. But I'm happy with where we're at, and I would sincerely tell any one of you, whatever you are, whatever you identify as, just be patient with each other. And yeah, be patient and just try to explain when people have questions if you can. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Comment, let me know how you feel about anything. I don't know what you would comment about, but I'm open to hearing it. Thank you.